Hello, I'm Cliff Brock, and I got a real surprise recently when I visited a cigar factory. I'm a non-smoker, adamantly so. Let Holden Rasmussen tell us a little bit about Tampa's hidden cigar world.
We welcome about 25,000 people a year as visitors to our cigar factory. First and foremost, we are a cigar manufacturer, but recently we've gotten into hospitality and tourism. We have 4 guided tours a day now, cigar rolling classes and tobacco tasting classes, and that's what our tours participate in. This building is a historic 1910 Ybor City cigar factory. It has always been a cigar factory, hopefully always will, right? But we now want to kind of transform into a one-man bourbon trail. So in addition to what we have here in the factory in terms of tours, cigar rolling classes, and tobacco tasting classes, we have a suite of other bespoke things that people can come and participate in here. And we're really trying to make a mark for ourselves. Tampa historically is known for its tourism because of the cruise ships and the museums and other things to do, snowbirds coming down here, spring training, basketball tournaments, whatever. But we also want to get people coming here for the cigar industry because historically Tampa has a great cigar industry. It's just in recent years, it's dwindled down to just our factory left operating and making cigars. So we want to make sure people remember that legacy, it's maintained, and it continues into the future. Great way to be an ambassador for cigars, great way to be ambassadors for Tampa, and really it's something that we're known for here. Just like Pittsburgh's got steel, Detroit's got automobiles, Pottsville's got Yuengling beer, St. Louis got Anheuser-Busch, Tampa's got cigars, and it's got the J.C. Newman Cigar Company. So in the future, we're gonna open up a hotel, cigar lounge, and restaurant across the street. That's gonna be open May of 2026. It's gonna be a top-story boutique hotel with 11 king-size bedrooms. We're also going to have our own tobacco barn and tobacco field, so you can see the entire process of growing tobacco and turning it into a cigar from seed to smoke, essentially. We make about 15 million cigars a year in this building, 12 to 15 million a year, I'd say. And then we import and distribute another 15 to 25 million from Nicaragua and the Dominican Republic. So it's still a big industry for us. Your average consumer does not smoke as much anymore. Your average cigar smoker smokes about once a month. And usually the cigars are imported, larger, and more expensive than the cigars that your grandfather smoked 100 years ago. But it's still a big slice of Americana. People have memories of it. It's a big social thing, especially in Florida, to, have recreation in cigars. And so you still get a lot of people coming here, all different ages and demographics. A good, I'd say, cross-section of the American public wants to come through and see here this cigar factory. I'd say the vast majority of people are not cigar smokers. It's not like Mecca for people who smoke cigars, but people are interested. They know the history. They want to see what's going on in Tampa, and it's a lot cooler than seeing, just a building where they create a space with historical vignettes. You can actually see the history being made here in this building. Everything we make is a premium cigar, meaning it's all natural tobacco leaf, but some are handmade, super premium cigars, and the other ones are value cigars. We make machine-made value cigars that sell for about $1.25, but by the same token, you also make cigars by hand in this building, and those sell for about $20. So you have both ends. The cigar industry goes through booms and busts, I'd say. By and large, especially the machine-made cigars, are very stable because you've always got that community of older retired gentlemen who smoke cigars, and they smoke a lot of cigars, almost daily smokers in some cases. But typically the cigar industry contracts by about 1% each year. As Eric Newman, our company president, would always say, we've been around for nearly 130 years now. About 120 of those years have been struggle years. Great Depression, World War I, World War II. Sure, the Army was buying a lot of cigars, but after the wars, they would sell them, they would liquidate the old cigars that were sitting in inventory for 4 years, and that would kill the cigar industry. So typically you have a lot of challenges like that as a cigar manufacturer, but cigars are a luxury product. They're something that you want, you don't need. So you always have people buying them. And occasionally every 20 years or so, you'll go through a big boom period where people start buying and smoking in greater quantities. Like in the 1990s, it was kind of in the early to mid 1990s, you had the first, as we call it, cigar boom, where Cigar Aficionado the magazine came out. And then you saw guys like Michael Jordan, Arnold Schwarzenegger, David Letterman smoking cigars. That caused it to become really popular. And then it fell off in the early 2000s. And then most recently, like in 2020, we had another boom boom with people who were smoking during the lockdown, during the COVID lockdown. You know, they had nothing to do besides drink and smoke and work from home. So that caused another really successful period of the cigar industry. Yeah, well, and it's like I said earlier, the vast majority of people who come through our factory are not cigar smokers. I don't think they've ever smoked cigars, or maybe they don't smoke anything anymore. They might have smoked cigarettes once upon a time. But you see mostly women coming through the factory to see the facility and tour. It's not just cigar guys or what have you. And especially at cigar lounges, you see young women, middle-aged women, older women coming to smoke by themselves, not necessarily with a male companion or anything like that. So it's especially in Tampa, it's a very democratized institution. Everybody smokes cigars, or at least is familiar with the culture. It's something that you do. And it's something that people have memories of fondly because they think about their uncle and how he smoked cigars and how good they smell and things like that. I'd say we have mostly American employees. They're folks that might have come from Cuba or Dominican Republic or Nicaragua, but they're American citizens now, and they work for our company, and they make handmade cigars here in Tampa or machine-made cigars here in Tampa. We also have a good showing of white and black Americans who work here. So it's a very diverse workforce. We even have some Asian American employees, mainly Thai and Filipino, who work here. It's a unique kind of rainbow coalition of everybody working together to make this factory functional. I'd say in total there's nearly 200 people who work for our company in the United States from all different walks of life and demographics. No, but we have salesmen in the field in the United States. So there's guys who work for the company, but they're not in Tampa. It's a 2-story brick and concrete and rebar building. There is brick involved in the construction, but it was the first concrete and rebar building in Tampa. And it was an old boarding house for the cigar makers. It was built by this large institution called the Sanchez and Haya Real Estate Company. They were actually originally a cigar company, but they decided developing Ybor City was more money than making cigars in terms of making it. And they developed a lot of houses and structures for the cigar factories and their workers. And one of them was that boarding house across the street from us. So we're trying to renovate it and restore it to its historical roots. We're not going to tear it down or do a facade-ectomy. It's going to be a complete historical restoration. And we're going to try and show its continual use throughout the decades. It was used at one time for a restaurant, a bar. That's kind of a few hundred people in town for that. We also have the Cigar Heritage Festival that we put on each year with Arturo Fuente Cigar Company and Cigar City Magazine, Lisa Figueroa, I think that's her name. Anyways, that also attracts a few hundred people here, just cigar smokers coming here for the culture and the festivities, you know. So we're looking to increase that. We're looking to hopefully go from 25,000 to 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, and you'll just have to stay tuned to see what comes next. It's just part of the culture. You know, always you're going to see athletes, professional athletes smoking cigars. You're going to see famous celebrities smoking cigars. So it still has a kind of public limelight, whereas cigarettes have really fallen off and become unpopular. Vapes are getting a big pushback. The smokeless tobacco, the little nicotine pouch that people put in their mouth, those are getting a big pushback because of the health concerns surrounded with them. But with cigars, your average consumer smokes 1 cigar a month, and with a cigar you don't inhale. So if you're just some guy smoking 1 cigar a month for the rest of your life, it's not going to cause any negative health effects. You know, so there's that concern as well. It's just a safer, healthier, more organic tobacco product than a cigarette. And I think that is what also attracts people to it. It's seen as sort of a masculine thing as well, you know, especially with a lot of these podcasters that are really popular right now, like Joe Rogan. They smoke cigars, and so people want to participate in that and be part of that energy.
That's part of it.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, before Miami was Miami, Tampa was Miami, right? In a way, we were the heart and soul of Latino culture here, especially in the Southeast. And we have a lot of famous Cuban, Spanish, Italian folks descended from the immigrants who came here in the 1800s to make cigars. For example, Muhammad Ali's cut doctor was this comedian named Ferdy Pacheco, who was also a doctor. He grew up right across the street from our building. So Ferdy Pacheco grew up right across the street. Desi Arnaz came here to do his farewell tour, you know, from I Love Lucy. We have tons of famous baseball players, Tony La Russa, Al Lopez, Lou Piniella, Tino Martinez, even some guys who are not Cuban, Spanish, or Italian, Fred McGriff and Wade Boggs. And it's a very special place, again, because of that cigar culture and that cigar industry. It's given rise to something you don't really see elsewhere in the South. You know, you go to Mobile, you go to New Orleans, you go to Galveston, these southern towns on the Gulf, and it's really the history of the white and the black city. You know, but with Tampa, you really have that unique spin of having Ybor City as a Latin quarter, and it's why Tampa is so special in terms of the Sun Belt, in terms of the South.